The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew.
Glory to you, Lord.
One of the 12, who was called Judas Iscariot, went to the chief priests and said, "What are you willing to give me if I hand him over to you?" They paid him 30 pieces of silver. And from that time on, he looked for an opportunity to hand him over. On the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the disciples approached Jesus and said, "Where do you want us to prepare for you to eat the Passover?" And he said, "Go into the city to a certain man and tell him, 'My teacher says, my appointed time draws near. In your house I shall celebrate the Passover with my disciples.'" The disciples then did as Jesus had ordered and prepared the Passover. When it was evening, he reclined at table with the 12. And while they were eating, he said, "Amen, I say to you, one of you will betray me." Deeply distressed at this, they began to say to him one after another, "Surely it is not I, Lord." He said in reply, "He who has dipped his hand into the dish with me is the one who will betray me. The Son of Man indeed goes as it is written of him, but woe to that man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It would be better for that man if he had never been born." Then Judas, his betrayer, said in reply, "Surely it is not I, Rabbi." Jesus answered, "You have said so." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
This past week, last Sunday actually, I was kind of struck by how often during the Passion account Jesus says, "You have said so." It didn't dawn on me that he actually repeats that 3 times. We heard the first of them, to Judas. "It's not I, is it, Rabbi? You have said so." And then Caiaphas, in his asking point blank, "Are you the Christ, the Son of God?" "You have said so." And then Pilate, "Are you the King of the Jews?" "You have said so." I think that when we come before the Lord with all of our imperfections, our prejudices, our betrayals, our accusations, our whatever, his answer will probably be just exactly the same. Look at yourself. Look at yourself, what have you said? Find the answer in yourself. Now, in looking at ourselves in that light, it's not just that we are sort of put off to come up with our own answer. It rather, I think, is that, we are one anchor of a bridge for which God is the other anchor. If we want to discover that bridge, let's leave the anchor on God's side up to him. But we have to pay attention to how that bridge is anchored in our own hearts. So at these significant moments, Jesus turns that question back to them. And we may want to look in ourselves to see where Jesus might be turning that question back to us. Sometimes where we feel the most alienated from God, the most imperfect, the most despicable before God. And we all have those areas, we all have those feelings. And sometimes when we feel that way, God is saying, look what you're saying. Look what you're feeling. And you'll discover there the bridge to me. It does not seem that Judas or Caiaphas or Pilate were particularly interested in discovering that bridge. But Jesus gave them the opportunity to. Perhaps in turning us back on ourselves, when we're seeking him to turn us back on ourselves, he is saying something that is very important for us, that we will discover that first step of the bridge to him by taking a good look at ourselves in his light. Maybe that's what he's asking us to do on this Spy Wednesday, when named after Judas, of course, but should we perhaps spy on ourselves in a way that is illuminating and life-giving?